It's really picked up since the turn of the weather, actually. We think customers were sort of holding off a little bit towards the end of September with a bit of Indian summer that we had. I think it was the driest September since 1910. But since the weather turns, particularly since the weekend, we've really seen it pick up.
And what sort of numbers are we talking about here?
So inquiries week on week, so looking at the last 7 days versus the previous 7 days, are 30% up. But more importantly, passenger numbers are 60% up. So what we're seeing, as well as more people inquiring, is people are ready to book their holidays and really keen to get sorted now.
Makes it a bit tough for you then, doesn't it? It depends on the weather, basically, whether people are going to book skiing holidays at this time of year. Is that the norm?
Yeah, it does. I mean, sort of adverse weather in the UK always has a positive effect on our business. But having said that, it wasn't all doom and gloom a week ago. It's just a real step change and got busier since. Skiers are a hardcore bunch and a very resilient bunch, and they think about skiing whatever the weather. But it's just you get this sort of increase when the weather turns generally.
What about the trends are you seeing? Are you seeing any new resorts coming in, or is it the old favourites of Val d'Isère, Sid Anton, resorts like that are still popular with people?
Well, what we're seeing at the moment is a lot of peak date bookings, so half term and New Year in particular. And resorts like you mentioned, Val d'Isère, St Anton, are already very, very well sold. So what we're seeing is sort of your second tier resorts, if you like, your Deux Alpes, Le Plan, Les Arcs, that perhaps aren't as well known, but are still very well known, big ski areas, are really seeing a lot of business at the moment because they still have some availability on those peak dates.
And is that mainly because the other resorts are simply filling up? I mean, half term is particularly busy, I know. I know a lot of companies have put on extra flights. Ingham's have, Crystal have. That's really because the other ones are getting full.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, Gatwick flights until about a week ago were very hard to come by, but as you said, with Ingham's and Crystal putting on extra flights, it's a little bit easier. But still, in the top resorts, if you want a group chalet, then you're pretty stuck. Actually, there's little bits and pieces, but not very much at all.
Now, obviously, next season, we don't know what the snow's going to be like, but we do know Easter's early, which is good. Last year there was a late Easter, which harmed the end of the season. Are you seeing good bookings for the Easter period as well? Now it's coming earlier.
Absolutely, Easter's doing a lot better than it was this time last year. I think there's two factors. One, as you said, it's earlier, which is good for a number of reasons, but also I think people are genuinely a little bit worried about what Michael Gove has done in terms of school holidays, and people who might have otherwise taken their children out of school in March are now going at Easter, or other weeks in March, I should say. Are now being pushed into Easter.
And overall, what are your thoughts for the season ahead? Obviously, you're going to say you're confident because you want to be confident that bookings are going well. But what are your general thoughts for the season ahead? Feeling optimistic?
Yeah, we are optimistic actually. We've had a really good start, our busiest summer ever, on the back of a very good year last year. And despite things like the World Cup, which often can prove as distractions, but this year haven't really had an impact. Perhaps because England weren't particularly good. But either way, we're coming into the season in a really strong position. A lot of the peak dates very well sold. And we don't expect to see the level of discounting that we've seen in recent years because tour operators generally are better sold than they have been.